All right, what's going on? First episode, right?
First episode one of
All
Gecko
right.
Change.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. I think this has been how many months this has been?
The least, damn, probably close to a year now. Close to a year.
Yeah, yeah,
In,
yeah. I know we've been talking about it for a hot minute.
talking about it, yeah. As
Yeah,
long, yeah, I'd say probably about 9 months, man.
damn,
Now we're
that's
doing.
crazy.
Now we're doing it. Now
Yeah,
time to.
yeah, just yeah. All right, cool. You want to go?
Yeah. So I'm Anthony. I'm online. I'm known as Cold Blooded Gems. 40 years old. I've been keeping reptiles since I was probably in the womb. I come from a long line of wild white boys, keeping everything living, everything breathing, fur, scales, fins, none had it all. Um, Fairly recently got into the new cow stuff, got married. I have a wife that's not exactly cool with everything I used to do, big snakes and alligators and swimming pools, just not having it. So
Mm-hmm.
I got put on to these new cow things through a pretty weird chain of events, if you will. I was watching Netflix like most people do, and I stumbled across this documentary called Unnatural Selection, and it was about CRISPR, genetic mutations and genetic altering, gene editing. And in it, they were using frogs. They were using frogs to pretty much lay out the foundation and blueprint for altering human genes. I'm not really, going down that road of human gene editing. It's not my thing. I think it has a bright future. Um, but it got me looking into the frogs. Like if they could do this, and they were making frogs that literally glue in the dark. So I was like, okay, cool, man. So I got into Pac-Man frogs. And after about a year of keeping the frogs, and I started really realizing how complicated it was to get to where I wanted to be with playing with genetics. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm at a show, and my kid asks me, "What are those things?" I said, they're ugly. Don't even worry about it. We'll keep it moving. We're looking for frogs." So
What was it though?
for sure, I didn't know. I didn't know much about them, so I kind of just ended it with that with her. I didn't want to sound like a big dummy.
Okay.
Home and started doing research. I'm like, all right, cool. What are these things? Man, oh man, it was a wormhole and a half, boy. So I
Oh
started
yeah.
researching, seeing everything everybody was doing, seeing how fast the turnaround was, how fast, in hindsight, you could take a gecko, raise it, pair it to something, and in theory, make whatever you want to make, within reason. And it caught my attention. So through that led me on to all the other New Caledonian species. Um, here I am now, two and a half years later, and man, I produced hundreds of geckos, hundreds of crested geckos, I should say. I'm still raising up all my Chihuahua geckos. Still got a rack of lychees I'm still raising. Those things take time. But to pass the time, really, I started playing with the crested geckos. To be frank, I seen how much faster they were reproducing. The genetic mutations. I don't want to say gene pool because we all probably know how small the gene pool is, but the
Yeah.
options of the mutations really intrigued me. They really intrigued me. They grabbed my attention, and I took off with them. I paid a lot of attention to things that I guess the industry considers basic. I love phantoms. I like simple. I think I look at it as a blank canvas, if you will.
Oh
I
yeah.
can
Okay.
film anything and do arguably just about anything with it to a degree. There's always the exception to the rule. So guys out there, don't knock me. You know what you're doing. You know what I'm trying to say. I hope. But so yeah, so I fell in love with the red stuff. Everybody's reds are done. Reds are basic. Reds are whatever. I've yet to see the reds that I want to see. So I started dabbling and playing and really making some really interesting things. And the biggest lesson I could say that I've learned is all those lessons, the things that I've learned that will ultimately take me to the other things that my passion really is. My passion is really these chihuahuas, man. Out of all the New Caledonian species, I've owned just about all the large ones. I had some Uris for a very short period of time. They just weren't really my thing, to be honest. I love them. They're great species, just weren't what I was really interested in. Sarah's awesome. Sarah sonorum's awesome species of gecko. Uh, but the Chihuahuas, man, the Chihuahuas are probably, and coming from an old time monitor keeper, probably one of the
Mm.
smartest lizards I have personally ever owned. I mean, I've got a rack of them, and then they all vary, and independent, in their little ways. Some are much smarter than the others. Some are just as derpy, if you will, as a crested gecko. But for the
Yeah.
most part, these things are super intelligent, man. These things have preferences. They're just mind blowing, man. And I really, 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 really can't wait to start working with them. I mean, it's again, man, a working, it's a work in progress.
So,
My passion is
oh,
things is just. I mean, it consumes my life. I think these things. I read about these things. I mean, I got Racodactylus with me 20 damn near all day. I'm dabbling in this Bible. Uh, and I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to learn. I'm always, I don't want to say looking to teach, but if there's any information I have that I could help anyone better what they're doing, even if it's just by tossing information around, I'm always around for it. Um, um, I'm fairly new, compared to to crested geckos is compared to a lot of these other guys, obviously. And I'll never try to deny that. I'm learning every day. Every day I learn something, whether it's about someone else's collection, a gene, my collection. I love to learn. I love to learn as much as I love these geckos. Um, and that's really where I, my again, like I said, my wife ain't having no snakes, so I can't have no. We don't own our home yet, so we feel
yeah.
unsure of where we want to be. I've only been married about 5 years, and we just don't know where we want to be right now. So we haven't decided to, with the market. Obviously, anyone that knows anything about real estate, this is it's a seller's market. It's not exactly a buyer's market.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know exactly where we want to be or what we want to do, but it's probably not looking like Connecticut where I live right now. Um, I love tropical climates. I live in one of these cages with these lizards if I could, man. I'm a
No, no, no.
no, sun loving type of dude, man. So with that being said, I'm very limited in what I can keep, and I'm okay with that. Um, with the species I have, I would probably have a whole lot more of them. Um, I'm a carpenter during the day. I build houses for a living. I've only ever built houses for a living. That's all I've ever done is swing a hammer. So I'm pretty crafty when it comes to like building things, putting things together, making things work, fixing things, figuring things out. It's just the nature of who I am. And I again apply that to the geckos. I'm always trying to learn a new way, figure something out.
So you need to start making some cages then, man.
What was that?
After you need to start making some cages, man.
Dude, if it wasn't for the prices of materials, I absolutely would. I talked to, I think her name is Ashley from Crypto Cresties. She put me on to she'd been at
Oh, focus cube.
bins, the shoebox
Yeah,
bins. So that led to
yeah,
like a public conversation about all, everyone's on these bins. Everyone and their mothers made a video about these shoebox bins and keeping geckos. Personally,
yeah.
yeah, I'm a glass guy. People don't like the glass because it's heavy. It's this, it's that. I'm heavy. I ain't. It's not. I pick damn things up. I like the way they hold humidity. I like the way they display. They grow plants well. Um, and they're like a display piece, man. My grandma's 83 years old. She sees these things and it blows her mind. It's like a little mini rainforest in a box. And
Yeah.
if my point is if the price of materials weren't so expensive, it's not a doubt in my mind I couldn't make a glass enclosures and a rack of glass cages. And again, when my wife and I, finally get a place, I absolutely have, man, I've got hours and hours and hours of plans stored in my head of things that I will absolutely build. And I mean, Dan, Jay, it's enough about me. Can you talk, man?
I'm saying, all right, so yeah, so I'm Jason. I guess owner operator of Ghouls and Geckos. Um, like I said, I've been like, man, I've been like this since like seventh grade, right? When we first moved, so my folks were military, so they were both in the army, so we always kind of around appreciate that. Um, so we finally moved to Arizona, right?
Hmm.
And once that happened, it was like summertime, so I'm outside looking at it. I see a goddamn. I saw something on the fence. I'm like, yo, what is that? So I'm out. So that's all. It was a pencil, basic ass pencil, and my mind was blown. Like, I didn't know what to do with this. So I thought, I'm like just hustling around, like trying to find all kinds of stuff. And I'm looking up people who are wild on the property, trying to find geckos, looking down at like the water meters, right? Pulling those out, finding geckos, there's spiders, all scorpions, all kinds of things. So that's what I did. Because I had a country in the city. I didn't have no country. So I had to go ahead and do what I had to do over there. For me, uh, everybody's like, oh yeah, Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park was a body. You know what? My favorite thing growing up was Godzilla. That's what really got me into. I was like, oh man, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, big ass lizard. Yeah, that's what's up. That was my thing. I didn't I like Godzilla, but that was my thing. Or Jurassic Park. But Godzilla was my thing. So I ended up getting like my first gecko or I ever got was back in like 2008, 2009, and that was a golden gecko. Didn't know anything about it besides it looked cool as hell, right?
Taught me
Just went
something.
to a little,
I don't even know what a golden gecko is.
it's a basic little $15 gecko. You go to any little pet store that have them. They come in a wild pack. You know, didn't know what I was doing. The thing was always dark. I was like, man, this thing dying on me. So I was like, I ended up like kind of just talking to my boss. I was like, hey, you want a gecko? Because obviously I'm not doing something right here. So I ended up doing that. And you know, during like that same time period, I was like, all right, well, let's try to find something else. So I was up in the store, I saw a toke. I was like, yo, that thing is gorgeous. And I was like, okay, that's what I want, right? So kind of waited and then went to a pet store. I was like, oh, y'all got tokes here? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, I want one. They looked at me like, you sure? I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, this dude started putting on like a cut glove, right? I'm like, why does he need that? So he put his hand in there. That thing sounded like a velociraptor going on his hand. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I don't need a toke right now. Especially as like, well, technically my second pet. But, so I end up going with a Leo. I saw this one little Leo in this big old group, and it was just following me like every move, right? So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get that. I had them for a while, never really thought about breeding or anything. Uh, and I think probably around like 2000, 2016. Yeah, 2016, I moved up north, Prescott. So I'm in Arizona, so I moved up north at Prescott, and it's polar up there, and I'm just chilling by myself on YouTube and came across snake bites. And yeah, so Brian Barchuk, yeah, rest in peace. So start watching his stuff, and I'm like, what? People actually believe this stuff? What's going on? And then he started getting into the leopard gecko. Holy shit! Okay, so he's throwing all these rats and leopard geckos. I was like, where did I do this? Okay. But I never really, I never even read the leopard geckos after that. I was like, just I kept on trying to collect, but never went through with it. It was for me. It was always that uh, paralysis by overanalysis.
Yes, sir.
You know, you're always constantly like, all right, I need to do this, I need to do that. research this, research, and I just never did anything. So I mean, after
Could
a
be,
while, it was just
it's better than impulse buying. Some people go out and just buy everything and anything, and they want to sell in a whole collection. There ain't
yeah,
nothing wrong.
yeah,
With that, Look where it led you. What do you do?
yeah.
You're one of the top Australian gecko dudes in the game right now, right? Talk about all these. Tell me about all the Australian things you're doing right now, man. How'd you get into Stropher? Stropher.
I
It just
saw
goes from
something.
geckos to Stropher to Stropher's, man.
Well, I mean, there was like in between time, there was other things. So I ended up working overseas, right? I was working in Africa. I was bored. I was like, okay, what can I do? And then how things started coming back to me. I'm like, okay, well, and you know AC, right?
Hmm?
So they were doing paper auctions back
Really?
then. And yeah, so I actually got a bunch of Pepsi for him during that time. A bunch of like C2, Phantom, Citrus, whatever they were. Got a bunch of them for like for two, and then that's when at the time I was always in contact with Richie.
Do you remember what they
What
cost back?
happened?
You remember what they cost back then or no?
Oh man, well it was auction, so I was flipping people for like 150. It was
See,
cheap.
insight that a lot of these cats don't have right. Most of these people breeding haven't done have the experience you had. That's cool, man. That's knowledge. It's insight. That's insight that a lot of us don't have.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm just a humble dude. I just kind of do what I do and research. And oh, for me, I always like I said, I always like the research thing. Right? I always like to know at least a little bit about everything. So when I go to a show, I talk about that. Talk about that. I don't even have those, but I know what they are. And so I don't like staying at one lane. But, so like I said, I got those crafties, and then I start talking back and forth with Richie. Richie put me on some cards. I got those. Um, so after I came home, it was I got those. I had some Leo. The guards ended up. I think my ex-wife's dog ate the damn guards for real. She just told me like one day out of the blue, like, hey, your guards in their bin. And like, where are they? They're like, oh, the dog knocked over. I was like, that's my geckos. So those guards are gone. I'm getting some more guards from Richie. And then that's when I got my Chihuahuas as well. So, and I think that's when he was working with BBs. So I don't know if he's still like side hustling with BB or if he's on his own thing. But
I don't know
when
either.
he was, yeah, I know when he was there, he was hooking me up with some good deals. Um, but yeah, then I got some Chewy, and then I think what happened. I think I was probably on like Instagram or something, and I saw chauffeurs. I was like, "Yo, that's some fly as shit." I was like, "Who has these?" So doing my research, looking like, "Hey, who has these?" Boom, boom, boom. Then I started these websites. I was like, "Okay, John, get those chauffeurs," and he had a variety of them too. So my first ones were chauffeurs wings, little itty bitty geckos. They're like a couple inches small, like think of like Eurodactyloids, those.
That's
But
small.
yeah,
I know.
they're tiny.
Hmm.
Yeah, fragile. Like they always say, put them in the 12 by 12 by 18. I was way too big for them.
Really?
So yeah. And I like they were cool when I first got them. And then, like I said, that 18 inches, no, my female ended up taking a dip, like trying to dive bomb on a damn cricket, busted her head and all this other stuff. Yeah, it was bad.
Can you
So
co-have
she ended
them?
up, no, not them. They didn't get coated because they weren't ready to breathe.
No, I'm saying, can you in general? Can you keep them in like a colony, or are they like
No, no,
more?
no, no, no. Yeah, no, it's like separate and they just, yeah, they kind of like to stay to themselves. Like I have like back here, I have breeding pairs.
Hmm.
I got a breeding pair of like the Intermedius. I got a breeding pair of Sibieras, and then everybody else is pretty much on their own. And I got two breeding pairs of Chihuahuas. So But yeah, so I got in contact with Don. He hooked me up with the Williams dye first. Then he hooked me up with the intermediates. Um, and then I was on when the morph market came around. I'm on that shit like boom, 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 trying to find stuff. Then I ended up finding someone that had a pair. And I just got my bonus. Oh, it's on.
Oh,
Give
it
me
was-
some shit. Yeah. So did that. Ended up getting a pair of Stropiers Ciliaris. And like that's probably been my most difficult thing. Those Ciliaris are just pain in my ass right now. Like they're breeding, she's dropping eggs, but then they're like there's something going on, like they're deflating. So I'm trying to figure that out right now. Like I've hatched out two Ciliaris already, I'm keeping everything the same, but I'm noticing certain things are happening. So I was like, all right, so I'm trying to switch up like my incubation methods right now and see if that's gonna work out or not. But I don't know, like so my goal, for this podcast is, I mean, like you said, I want to show people there's other things in this world than just your basic stuff, like the stuff that you see always at the shows, your ball pythons, your bearded dragons, leopard geckos.
Absolutely.
There's more in the world. All you have to do is research. All you have to do is look at it, you know. And that's what I always tell people. Like they're like, is it easy or is it hard? Like, dude, anything's easy if you research it. If you
Mhm.
put the time in it, it's going to be easy. Like,
Absolutely.
and some people just don't understand that.
The hobby would be twice as big if we had twice as many species. You know,
Yeah,
but and I'm not knocking ball python breeders or crested gecko breeders because damn, I've had them both and I breed crested geckos, right? But go to a reptile show and it is table after table after table of the same stuff. It's the same
yeah,
stuff. There's only a
yep,
handful of guys like you that are breeding that have stepped outside of the circle that are doing this stuff. And
yep.
I was ready to ask you: is it because it's complicated, or is it just a lack of education that you feel people aren't dipping into these other genres of reptiles? What do you think?
Uh, well, I think it's just because those weren't the first ones that kind of get discovered, right? Like you had Philippe, go to New Caledonia instead of going after her to Australia, right? So then he brings all that stuff with him, and so now people are like, oh my god, these things are so easy. People are blah, 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 right? So it's easy. It's an easy pet for them. They're like, I don't have to do much. I don't even have to feed them bugs, which is bullshit.
Mm,
So that's what most people do, right? And for me, like I said, like when I went to Tinley, that's probably the only time I actually seen like different stuff.
yeah,
Like it was crazy. I think I was like, there was so much stuff there. Like Phil Trimper, he had some amazing stuff.
I
Like
can.
he had everything. Yeah, he had like dope skinks to Chondrodactylus ungullifers, uh, Liberbas, all kinds of crazy stuff. I was like, man, that's really dope. Then you had like Brian Susan. You know, I look up to that guy because he does Strophears and he does Chahuas.
You guys are like
And
the.
then he all,
I don't know.
and then but
First, I think of you and I think of him. When I think of these little spiny tailed geckos I know nothing about, I think of ghouls and geckos and Brian Susan always got
yep,
them. You know?
yeah.
It,
And I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to spread the word of them. Like, look, these geckos are dope. They're awesome. They're easy to care for. Like, all you have to do is maintain those 5 parameters. That's all.
what are
Like,
they?
you maintain, it's heat, UV, um, what else? They don't need a crazy amount of humidity. It's like you give them a little box for them to go ahead and if they need to get a little extra humidity, little water bowl.
How
You
warm do you?
know, like probably like so if they go up high, it's probably in the 90s. I got my lights on dimmers just so I don't blast them. But UVB, you definitely need UVB for them because they're open basters. Yeah, they openly bath. They don't hide as much as like other geckos. Like even my chihuahuas, they hide when I got UVB on them, but sometimes they utilize it, sometimes they don't. Like my female Sidieris, she will go ahead, she lays on the stick that's propped up right by the UVB, and she's getting on that thing for like a couple hours.
Yeah, see all your posts. They're always chilling in the sun, man. They're always in the light. It's
Yeah,
definitely, definitely. I know nothing again about them, but I'm an observant person, and I could definitely tell that that species of geckos utilizes UVB. Man, that's good, man. I wouldn't know anything about them if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know they existed. Honestly, I mean that's
Yeah.
and that's huge. Just people like you that bring this attention and exposure to these species, man. I mean, they deserve it. They're a cool little
Mhm.
gecko, man. Cool
Yeah,
gecko.
they're one of two species, or yeah, one of two species that shoot that goo from the tail. The other one is the Uris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I've never actually been sprayed by them. I actually know one time I've been sprayed, and it was from a little hatchet. Someone sprayed out the egg, and he was freaked out. He was like, "Yo, what's going on?" And trying to spray me. I was like,
What is
"Man,
it? Like a musk, like a snake would, or
yeah,
what?
yeah, kind of like a must. It's like it's almost it's like a sticky little substance that they spray, and it stinks real bad, and
Oh,
it's supposed to like deter. Yeah, it's supposed to like deter an animal from like if they try to bite it or something.
mm.
Yeah, like this stuff. Like I've heard it sucks if it gets me honest.
I was
Like
gonna say, probably some type of defense mechanism to get in a predator's eye or something. If it burns your
yeah,
skin,
yeah,
that's evolution is crazy, man. Crazy.
yeah.
I
Well,
That's me, man. They have these genetics and evolution, and even that New Caledonia at one point was part of Australia. I can only imagine if there's two species of geckos that spray something out of their tail, the Uris and the Stropharis, at some point them they broke off from each other. At some point they were much closer related. It's
yeah,
that, man. It makes my makes me breathe, man. It's the reason I all those little things, human nature, man. Humans think we got it all figured out. We know everything. Eh, we don't know nothing. Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. Man,
Yeah,
that's
so you can always learn something new every day with them.
that's
All
awesome.
you gotta do is all you gotta do is look stuff
Bro,
up. I can't. What you say?
how many species of Stropharis is there all together? Or subspecies?
Man. I mean, there's over 20, I think. But
That,
in the U.S., yeah, in the U.S., there's only like maybe 10.
yeah, we were talking the other
Yeah,
day. You were telling me I was looking them up, man. I wanted to get you some. I'm like, yo, Jake, love these. Nothing. Every form I found was in Australia.
yeah,
Everything,
yeah,
nothing out here, man. Nothing.
yeah, yeah. It's closed like that. Yeah, that thing's been closed for like 20 plus years, and I don't see them.
I see what they're doing. I was also reading from you because of you looking for those lizards, the geckos, that they're not even allowed to keep exotics if it's not native to Australia and they have a special
Mhm.
permits. They can't
Yep.
keep certain stuff. You know
They
they
can keep certain stuff in the same country. Like if they're on the like New South Wales and the other one's on like somewhere else, and that gecko's not native to New South Wales, they can't keep it.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, they need like permits and stuff. I was listening to it was like the Australian reptile podcast, and they were talking about that. It's like, yeah, you gotta get permits for certain things. It's like that's crazy. Like I can't even just go outside and snatch something up.
I kind of respect it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say I like it. I'm sure a lot of us would love if we could just do whatever we wanted to. But there's a proper time for rules and regulations, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
they would suck humans. They would suck Australia dry, man. They'd suck Australia dry.
Oh,
They already have a huge problem with invasives like feral cats or something, right? Feral cats are eating wallabies and killing all types of
cat
other
and it used to be those cane toads.
cane toads too. Yup.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, I guess again, not to repeat myself, but I see their overall cause for trying to control all that. It's commendable. I
yeah.
respect.
Yeah, I think they need to start going with the like the Madagascar thing where they let so many out the country.
Dude, I
Like
just
that's
heard,
what.
I was in the car with my wife the other day, and they said that 80% of Madagascar's forests have been chopped down. 80%
Yeah,
of Madagascar's forests have been leveled. How is there human beings out here talking about conservation, save the environment? Why are you worried about what a car's burning in gas and you can't even stop these people from leveling an island that's one of a kind. People
Yeah.
can start redirecting their attention to the real issues. But that's a podcast for another day.
Right. Right. Yeah. And like I said, just like you, it's for this podcast, it's education, and then it's giving those people that, like you said, that don't have a voice, right? Giving them that platform to, talk their stuff, you know, show what they're working with, and just, give them the spotlight that they deserve.
We want to give everyone a voice. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone with respect and within reason should have the opportunity to be heard, right? To show
Yeah.
what we're doing. We can all, and I don't care how much you know, everyone can learn something from somebody else. And that's what
For
we
sure.
wanted. We talked about. That's what we brainstormed about for damn near the year. This isn't a popularity contest. We ain't just dealing with who makes the best of the best. Granted, you're welcome. You're definitely welcome to come and teach us something. But we're not limiting our platform to the cool kids, right? This is for
Right. Right.
everybody that has something to teach, something positive, something that may help inspire or influence anyone, a child, a non-reptile keeper, anybody. You're more than
Yeah.
welcome to come here and share what you have to offer. And we're gonna pride ourselves on that, man. That's we're
For
here
sure.
for we're here for the reptile community, for the gecko community. It's we're gonna do this, man. This happening. That's what we're gonna do, man, for the people. If you've ever felt like you didn't have a voice, I'm telling you, you do. Your opinion matters. What you're doing matters, and what you have to offer us and teach us absolutely matters. And there's people that want to hear. There's people that are more than willing to listen. And me and Jason are doing everything we can to give you guys the platform.
Yeah, for sure, right there. That's what it is.
Talk about
Yeah.
Lewis, man, because I need you to teach me something. I know how to spend the money. I know how to buy a whole bunch of them, but I don't know a damn thing about breeding them. I don't know a damn thing about, man, a lot. I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
But so the Chihuahuas, like, like that one, I mean,
How long you been
that
keeping?
one, not that long, dude. Like, I think I got my first Chihuahuas back in, damn, when was that shit? Like 2020, 2021,
So you
around there?
bought adults then?
No, no, no. They were uh juvies. They were like almost a year old.
2024, boy, time flies. Oh my god.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, like I got them, and then uh, and it was just I wasn't for me. So for me, I don't care about white collars and all that other shit, right? I My ultimate goal is I want to make a black and orange Chihuahua. That's what I want to make.
Two of my favorite.
So
Oh,
you know, so I mean, if I have to get into mainland so I could get that melanistic project going, but excuse me, I still know that mainlands have oranges. So the oranges, that's pretty hard to find. Like, getting a good price on those. Um,
they'll grow out of it. We've all seen them, but you cannot. They don't always hold it. They'll go
yeah,
through phases and then it's gone. To get it
yeah,
into adulthood is I
it's
I, I,
hard.
I bet you could do it.
Well, I mean, I know some people that got them. Who was
But
it? Arboreals Anonymous.
hmm,
Yeah,
that's
she has her dope have orange still. I was like, okay. So like the goal is let me get the darkest base Chihuahua I can get, and then once I get some oranges, put those together to hopefully come out with some black and orange. Like
mm,
that would be my goal. Like I said, white collar, don't really care. Not my not my thing. I like darker with things that pop, like orange or red, things like that. Uh, um, but I mean, shit, it was pretty simple to, keep them. Like I've I've been talking with Michael Chihuahua Chamber, right?
he's a
Yeah,
legend.
yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
he
So I was constantly talking to that dude, like, hey, am I doing this right? Is this what it needs to be? Like, can I do this as a temporary thing until I get the enclosure done? He's like, yeah, yeah, you're fine, you're good. Like, I had him in this long ass bin, right? Like, this thing was huge. And just until my enclosures got made, because all my enclosures for them are like 18, 18 to 18s. Because he was telling me, he's like, yeah, like if you go big with them, no, they're not going to feel secure. So
They live in
you gotta,
cork. And they, the one thing I have absolutely learned, I started in 24 by 24, whatever, these big old $300 cages. They don't leave a certain area. Even all the books I've read, all the studies I've read, these things stay in small areas.
yeah,
They like
yeah,
the comfort of a small area. And I'm not saying everyone should go and keep a full grown Chihuahua in a 6 quart bin. That's not what I'm saying. But
yeah.
small, comfortable enclosures are, from what I'm learning, seem to be the most effective at keeping a healthy gecko. Obviously, you know more. You've bred them, you've produced them. I don't. But what you're saying is going hand in hand with what I've learned, man. That's awesome to hear from someone else.
Yeah. And then I mean, I put a heat source on them as well. So I get me what is it? One of those little sticky pads. Put that thing on the back, little heat mat. Put that onto a to a or what's it, thermostat. Not
Mhm.
I leave it around like 80, 82 on that thing. And so when it's breeding season, I always see my female on that little pad. When it's not breeding season, she doesn't go on. She's nowhere near it, but she likes to warm for on her belly, helps cook those eggs while they're in her. Um, I said, and I also got UVB on there as well.
Yeah.
So everything's inside. So since it's, I don't have, I only have, let's see, I got two. So for the airflow, I got it going all ways, all directions, right? Except for up top because it's a enclosed whole thing, just so I can have some proper airflow. And then, like I said, I don't have any isopods in there. I've heard nightmares about it, so I just didn't even want to test it out.
Well, eating the
I put
eggs.
three, yeah, yeah. So I don't even test it out. I was like, don't care if it's just one kind of isopod or not, whatever. Like right, what I have in there though, I do have mealworms, and I turn into beetles. They eat the poop anyway, so that's been working. Plus with some springtails.
What have you learned about the calcium crashes, man? See, again, I haven't paired mine, but mine are all got about 20 something chihuahuas. They're all coming to age. I am scared, excuse my language, children, scared shitless about my those calcium crashing. Before they're breeders, these things are my pets, man. I got girls that will come out of the cage and chill, man. They're like, I love these things, man. And I don't want to see them crash. Is there anything you've learned? I mean, what? Talk to me about the calcium crash, man. Teach me something, man.
So I use Arcadia for my supplements. So they get so for them they do um, every week it's Earth Pro A, and then on the opposite weeks I do straight up calcium, and then Wednesday will be Earth Pro A, and then Friday I use the revitalized D3, right? Just so they get extra calcium, put a little calcium little thing in there so they can lick it if she wants. Like every bug is dusted with them. They get UVB. I have a VivTech bulb in there, so they they will bask. She will bask. Like when she just had eggs, right? So before she had eggs, there's this log that's and it's I have the UVB like going straight down, beaming on it, and she'll go and bask on that thing. Wow, so she don't get those calcium crashes.
So you think it's
Like,
avoidable then, right? So many
oh
people
yeah, definitely avoidable.
are sort of part of the species. See, I don't believe that. I don't think that Mother Nature will create something that almost dies every time it has birth. It just don't make sense. We just haven't simply
No,
figured it, right? I mean, it's
no. If you give them the vitamins, they're gonna be fine. Like if you don't like so what you're trying to do is uh not try to what's the damn word? Well, I mean, you're preparing her for that season, like a season before, right? That's
like
what all you're doing.
just like a woman would, anyone would. They would know when they're pregnant. They would take on the extra nutrients. They would take on the
Yeah,
supplement, and they would get themselves ready for it. So I genuinely believe, like you're saying, these are all again just all thoughts to me, things that have crossed my mind,
yeah.
that notions I've had, if you will. But they
Hmm.
that's you're making a lot of sense. You're making what I'm thinking make a lot more sense. So
Yeah.
it's good to hear. It's
That's a,
good to hear. So many people that I've asked questions to are like, "Oh, it just happens. Just you're just gonna have to deal with it. It's just part of it."
no, no, no. if you prepare, you'll be fine. All it
Yeah.
is making sure they get their calcium when they're supposed to get their calcium. Make sure everything's dusted when you're feeding. Like even when I make their diets, I add a little extra little calcium in there or some other extra vitamins so they can process everything.
And you said you use licks too, right? Using calcium licks in the cages,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
little,
Just put a little, just a little bottle, no, a little bottle cap with some pure calcium.
and they'll lick it, right? They'll lick it. They use it.
Yep, they'll lick that. Yeah, that or the bugs are eating it, and then they eat the bugs. And boom, calcium.
I've heard people saying, like leopard geckos. People do it a lot with leopard geckos. They put a little tray of
Yeah,
calcium, use it.
yep,
Through the grapevine, I've heard people talking about using it with chihuahuas, and I've heard they use it. I haven't. I don't have anything breeding yet, so I use whatever I do. But I'm super curious about exploring that avenue when the time comes. But that's good to hear. Again, you say that they use it, man. That's good.
yeah,
Another tool to throw in the arsenal. Good.
for sure. Yeah, yep. What else I got over here? I think that's really it. Uh, so what's going on? So when you gonna start breeding them chihuahuas though?
Man, everyone I got, I mean, other than they're all born in 22. They're all 2002
Okay.
babies. So hypothetically speaking, I'm waiting for duds.
Yeah.
Between 2 years from what I've learned, um, just waiting for duds. Now, I got to be honest, right? My adults are all in these bio enclosure things. I never looked. I never got in there and looked because I just assumed that they were too young and whatever. So after talking to my buddy Boris over at BB's, he uh he was saying they're ready. I showed you I got girls that are 80 grams, 60 grams. I
Yeah.
got big
Yeah.
girls.
You got heavyweights.
I've never looked. I never dug for eggs. So when we're done with this, I'm gonna, I gotta take care of all my breeding pairs and everything, and I'm gonna actually dig and look. I've just been terrified, man. I'm not trying. I don't want him getting. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. So I just.
Well, like I said, you prepare, you get them prepared for it by doing what you're supposed to do with the calcium, with the vitamins. They're gonna be fine. Like, and another way you'll know if they drop eggs is if they're defensive. Like
Oh,
when, oh yeah, so my first breeding pair now since I got them in that black PVC, man, they are dicks for real. Like they come at me with a passion.
so
Like whenever I'm going in there.
is there any research or anything? If they are they, I was just talking to chromatomorphs online. They had a crested gecko that hatched out in the bioactive enclosure, right? So it sparked another thought. I'm like, damn, there's certain gecko species out there that absolutely will protect their young, like tokays. Tokays will have
Yeah,
babies. They've shown parental characteristics. They've been known to protect their young. So I was wondering, like, damn, what would happen? Has anybody ever tried this with new cow species? Has anybody ever seen or left a gecko, a baby in the cage to see if they protect it or not? And it makes me think now that you're saying that a Chihuahua gets defensive when the eggs are in there, that they're conscious. They're conscious the eggs are there. They're conscious they gave birth, so they must know that a baby's on the way. I'd love to know if they would guard their babies or how they would handle the offspring.
yeah. I from what I've heard, well, this was like on another podcast I was hearing, and they said they waited a few days and then they kind of just left the eggs alone, and then they were able to grab them. But as soon as they lay them, that's when they're really defensive.
Ah,
Uh, the female, she's like I got a picture up on my Instagram. She's just looking at me like, please try to take them because I'm gonna bite the hell out of you.
you're making some
Uh,
beautiful man, some beautiful babies. The second you get to let a female go, I'm coming for it, man.
yeah,
I know how valuable they are.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
man. Like I hatched out probably more males this year than anything.
I think they're temperature dependent, attaching to the sex dependent on temperature or what?
I, I've heard they're not.
Really?
I think LAC
Oh,
did a
don't know.
yeah. Well, I know LAC did a little scientific little experiment with that.
Better come on here, Andrew. We need to know something, Mr. Gilpin.
He said no. He said no. There was no correlation. So
Really?
I was like, okay, yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. But like um, I know it's like every year is kind of like that where you hatch out more males, you hatch out more females. It's something in the weather, I guess. I don't know. That's why
That's
like I was
very
listening to a couple podcasts about that. Like yeah, it gets like that every year. Like you get heavy on males one year, then you get heavy on females another year. So it just kind of goes back
What
and
about
forth.
the chauffeurs? They temperature dependent? What have you've hatched out a bunch of them, huh?
Yeah, I haven't kept any to see. Like
Really?
right now, yeah, I have two more of my intermediates left, and it looks like one's a male, one's a female. They hatch like a day apart, and they're clutch mates.
In the same way? The hemipenal bulge, how do you set pores? How do you sex the chauffeurs?
So you can do it two different ways. You can loop them, like, but they're small as hell, so it's like can't really see. Or you can just wait until the bulge pops. So these ones were born in like June. So I ended up looking on one. I saw pores on one of them. The other one I didn't see any pores, so I was like, maybe that's a female. But the other one I know is a male. I know from my filiaris, you can see the pores on my male like bright as day. Like
Really?
it's a totally different color from their stomach. So you know that's a male, but then they also got the bulge as well.
Both of them spray the stuff from their tail? Ah, probably, right? Both male and
Yeah,
female.
yeah, yeah.
No
Yeah.
other any other differences between the males and the females with them species?
No, no, I mean they pretty much just look all the same besides the bulge. Like
What about size?
females, what's that?
What about size? Do the females get bigger than the males?
Female, yeah, my female is bigger than my males.
Really? See, most of my new cow stuff, a
Like
majority of
my male,
them are bigger.
your males are bigger or your
Oh,
females?
girls are way bigger.
Okay. So mine's right now they're opposite. Like my males are bigger than my females.
Really?
They've
Jehud?
always and yeah, they I don't know what it is, but like I was like, okay, well, let's just hopefully y'all don't try to kill each other. And
You
they've been working out.
they
But
have
yeah, my male is probably 10 grams more than my female
really?
on both of them. On both of them. It's like, okay, well, I thought that I was like, maybe this is normal. I don't know.
Hmm. I mean, I got 30 grams difference, man. Like my biggest male is probably 50 grams, 50-ish grams. And then again, my biggest female, she's anywhere between 80, 85 grams,
Yeah,
I, uh, makes me nervous, man. Like,
yeah. Oh,
and they're
yeah.
just
I think my males.
whatever, but they're all pretty much, again, not for nothing, but the majority of my stuff comes from Boris. So I'm wondering
Okay.
if something to do with his genetics. Like, are these girls that I have, these three girls I have that are 60 grams or better, is it all they're not from the same pairs? I know the pairs they come from, but are they
Mhm.
for a while, are they from the same lines? Are they something's again more there for me to learn and figure out, man. That's what keeps me going, man, is I don't know
Yeah.
shit. And really
Yeah. I
honestly,
feel you.
don't
Yeah.
it
I
like
mean,
know something, I want to. I get that more. My hands don't go up in the air and say, "Ah, fuck it, I'm done." Right? Excuse my language.
yeah.
I'm that much more intrigued when I don't know
Oh
something.
yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell, I got a book. Like I literally printed out all kinds of stuff and I just put it in a folder. So anytime I get something new, I put it in that folder. And then I make notes on that thing too. So
Oh,
like I said with those Williams eye, instead of because they were saying put them in a 12 by 12 by 18, I was like, no, we're gonna do 12 by 12 by 12 for them because they're much smaller. Take so if they hit the floor, it's not that far because it's dirt is it's like compacted dirt with sand, so it's a little bit more stiffer. So hitting that like doesn't bode well. Not
huh.
like if you do like in a tropical setup where it's a little bit
Yeah.
softer and everything. So
Yeah.
and with them it's a lot more sticks and wood pieces and stuff like that, so they can hit everything on the way down. It's not good.
So they're 100% arboreal. The Stropher,
Yeah,
all the
like
species are
what's
all
that?
are all Stropher species arboreal, or just
Pretty
some
much.
down?
They'll go on the ground when it's time to hunt, but for more majority of the time they're posted up either on like the side of my enclosures or they're chilling on the stick like just holding it And if you come up to them, they kind of like turn to the side so you can't see them. It's like, dude, I can see you. What are you doing?
Such a
It's like,
cool little gecko, man. They're like, they really are like little baby dragons, man. They're like, dude, if I didn't keep, my wife has limited me to a room, so I temperature control this whole room. If it
yeah,
wasn't for different, parameters, I absolutely would have them, man. I would absolutely have them. They're like, I seen these little black and orange ones that Susan made at Florida.
yeah,
Dude, them things look like little dragons, like real
yeah.
deep
How much were they going for?
over his eyes, little spiky tail. Thing was just missing wings.
Yeah. How much were they going for?
I didn't even look. I didn't even look. Probably
No.
1,100 ish, something like that. I don't think he's had
Yeah.
anything on the table, but it was less than a grand.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because when I saw him over at Tinley, he had one silly errors and it was like 1,200. Because
Sounds
I
about
mean, he
right.
told me, yeah, he told me he's like, yeah, I stopped selling them as babies. I wait until they, yeah, he's like, I wait until they hit like 1 years old or something. Because like people were telling me like they can't take care of them, they're dying on them. I was like,
Oh,
what?
man,
Yeah,
how do they progress in comparison to like a crested gecko? Do they stay pretty much looking the way they are when they're born, or will they develop color as they age?
they um from right now, from what I can tell, so from the one I have, it's still staying the same color that it is right now. But we'll see if it gets bigger. Like my one that I got from Joe Hub, like because they fire up and fire down, right? And like when he was in his little bin, he would stay predominantly just almost ghost white. And then when I moved him into this 12 by 12 by 18, and he got the heat from above, started getting darker, darker, orange started popping, getting really black. I was like, okay, but I'm not sure like how much they'll change, but I don't think it's that much. Like right now, this one's kind of slate gray, and you can see like all the patterning coming through on the back. So we're waiting. I'm waiting to see if it actually does.
That's cool.
Uh,
I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited to see people work with things that haven't been explored, man. There's so much for you to do, man. Again, when I look at those little species and I admire them a lot, I look at two people, man. And I'm sure there's obviously more of you guys, but I'm checking out your page and I'm checking out Brian's page, man. Like, there's so much that's unknown. That's to me that's amazing. That it's pretty much everything you do with them, you guys are learning. Everything
yeah,
that happens is a lesson learned. It's a
yeah,
learning experience, and everything you learn is potentially something for all of us to learn. And that's amazing. You guys are laying the foundation for a new species in the limelight, man. There's no reason
yeah.
that they can't be as popular as crested geckos or anything else. Something's next. We all know something's going to be next. You
Yeah,
know.
there's always got to be a next thing, you know.
Yep.
And hell, I think it might be Capotes, but I don't know. We'll see about that one. Like, well, wait until you see like May. I should have me a whole another collection coming in.
Yeah. You were telling me
Yeah,
about that.
and now,
Tell, yeah,
yeah,
tell the people. Tell the
and,
people you came up on.
yeah,
Tell the
now
people what you're about to do to
I'm
the.
gonna so I'm gonna start working with N-Geckos, uh, Belsuma Sepidiana. Uh, my boy's he's gonna hook me up with those. Belsuma Sepidiana. I'm gonna get some more Oidora monoliths. I'm gonna get some more Stropheres from him. Uh, and then like and I got a buddy out in Cali, so we're gonna go and probably do something where I'm gonna do a breed along with him because I'm getting a Stropheres Chrysalid, I think that's how he said. I'm not too sure. Yeah, so I'm getting a female. He got some male, so we're gonna do that. So we get get some more Stropheres out there. But no, I'm really interested in those Phelsuma. It's bright colors. I think bright colors is gonna help catch people's eyes. Because right now, so if I bend the table right now, all you're gonna see is like gray and black and like with some orange. So you need some color on there. So I was like, let me try this Phelsuma stuff, see if that works. And then I think a little bit later on, I'm actually gonna be start working with some Tachychromas. Have you seen those?
I haven't, dude. I haven't.
Yeah, uh, grass lizards, really,
Oh,
really cool.
okay, okay. Grass lizards. See, that's the cool
Yeah,
thing too, guys. With this podcast here is we want to highlight species, man. Species that are known. Let's teach everyone about something that people haven't heard of. There's no reason the
oh
table's got to
yeah,
be. rest of geckos. There's a million, maybe not a million, but a whole bunch of other geckos that are just as interesting. That even people like myself, I haven't had not had a reptile for 40 years of my life. I've always had reptiles, and I still discover new species every day. So let's highlight species that are less unknown to people, man. Let's get people interested. Nobody's going to be interested if nobody knows about them. We got the platform
Yep.
here. Time. Let's teach. Let teach me something. I ain't gonna say let us teach something. I don't know shit. Teach nobody, but you know, let's get some people on here to you know bring some stuff to light, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. There should be so many tables full of the stuff you have, man. I mean, I don't want to say so many tables like everyone should have a million Strafers on the table, but it'd be nice to walk by table after table after table and see different species, different species, different species that people know about. Because the only reason,
Yeah.
in actuality, that these geckos you keep aren't as popular is because there's not 100,000 people out there showing them off all the time. There's such a small group of you guys that got them. It's not that the geckos are any less interesting or any less attractive than any of these other things. They're just as, if not more, interesting than the species everybody keeps. It's just so few people, I guess, have taken the initiative, I guess, and I'm not knocking anybody, but have taken the initiative to expose us to them. I'm not the only one out here that wants to learn. I want to learn. I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see what you guys see what you guys, can bring to the table, man. It's a lot of amazing. There's a lot of amazing things out there, man. That we can, again. I hate to repeat myself, but we could all teach each other.
Yep.
You may know something I don't know. I now learn it. I'm teaching so and so. So and so is teaching this one. I mean, let's highlight some species that are a little less unpopular, guys.
Yep. That's what it is. Shit. So we coming up on an hour now.
Dog,
Well,
let me
looks like
bring more.
I still gotta go feed.
And yeah, me too, man. Me too.
All
So how do you
right.
want to close this? Just
No, I mean, shit. We pretty much we're done for today. I'm gonna say, well, no, we'll chop it up after this and see when we want to try to do another one. Like I said, we'll get like 3, 4 of these already done in the so we can load those up, and then we can take our time doing the other ones when we try to get guests on and everything like that.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
This I got so man. I honestly like. I hate to be a scatterbrain. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't write nothing down. Everything that comes to me comes off the dome, dude. I
Yeah.
go on for hours about all this stuff. So I apologize to anyone who sees this. I apologize to you, but we will
Good, all
get
good.
structured and tightened up. And man, it's going to be a hell of an experience, guys. I'm telling you, guys ain't
Yep.
going to want this is for you guys.
So,
This is for you. This is for you. We said we had to see. It's for you guys.
all right, cool. All right, I'm gonna hit this off button.